Hello. I had some people ask me a few questions in the comments of one of my last videos, and one of the questions was if I could name all the corals in my tanks so they could get familiar with what's in here and my other tank before it's gone. And also someone had asked a question on suggesting some easy softies, but I'm just going to go over what some easy corals are. I don't usually put hard corals that are difficult to take care of in my tank. I don't want to take a chance of them dying, and my tanks are not high tech and they don't have expensive lights. And so I kind of stick within the parameters of what will do good in my tanks, and then they do well and look good, praise God. But as far as what is easy, it's kind of a loaded question because things that are easy for one person might not be easy for another person. I can have 4 different tanks in my house and they all have their own chemistry and character, and one coral may do great in that tank, one tank, and then I could move it to another tank and it could die. For some reason, each tank kind of has its own little ecosystem, and the way the chemicals are all fighting in there and the way the lighting and the flow and everything is, that, you know, if something's not doing good in one of my tanks, I put it in another tank and it usually will do better, or sometimes it won't. And there's certain things that I've tried for years to grow and they just never usually do good for me until I hit on one tank that it does. So, it's kind of a loaded question, that some things that might do good for me and are easy for me might not be easy for you. I've had some people, buy paleothoas and then have them melt away, or mushrooms or green star polyps, whereas, some people have it be an epidemic in their tank and they take over. So anyways, I'm just going to show you the corals that are in this tank and go over what they are. That is a Grub's gorgonian. I like gorgonians because you can kind of use them like baby's breath when you're doing a flower arrangement and kind of fill in some space if you have them in the right flow and the right light. Some are easier than others, but the Grub's, for me, they grow like crazy. I have to trim them all the time. Sometimes I have to throw pieces away if I'm not going to make it to a fish store soon enough and don't have a place to grow it out. All my friends' tanks has tons of this in it. All of my tanks has several areas with it in it. It's just a great filler, a good hardy gorgonian for me. Pretty easy to grow for me. That is a hammer, a green tip hammer. I also have a pretty pink tipped hammer. For me, they're pretty easy if I keep them mid to low in my tank. Some of the ones I've had have liked a lot of flow. Some of them don't like much flow at all, or else they'll blow apart if they have too much flow and don't open. It just depends. But I've not had a really difficult time with hammers or torches. Or torches a little bit more trouble for me to find the right spot than a hammer or a frog spawn, but generally they're pretty easy. Green star polyps, very easy. Usually will take over your tank. In this tank, I have it on a rock by itself, pulled out about 1 inch away from my other rock work so I can keep it in check. Beautiful how it sways in the water. Adds a lot of movement to a tank. Love it. Good stuff. Be very careful you keep it in check. Mushrooms, right there, same thing. Beautiful. Will take over your tank in time if you're not careful, and they are beautiful, but they pack a powerful sting and can actually sting back as they multiply stuff that you really like and you don't want to die. And I have this rock here that this gorgonian's on is also a good ways away from my other rock work, so I can keep it in check. That pulsing xenia in the back, love it, love it. It will take over your tank if you don't learn how to manage it. Baptasia X will kill it if you have just a little place to kill, a little spot. I have it just on the back wall of my tank, but it does throw arms off, and I can find it somewhere else in my tank where it'll attach and I didn't notice, and it will start growing and I'll have to keep it in check. Those there, not the bright green in the middle of the screen, but those very frilly, those are clove polyps. That's a kind that's got a green center, and the radials have little feathers and have yellow coming out from the middle. Love them. Never been able to grow them in any tank I've ever had until I put them in this tank, and they're actually spreading and doing well. They're across the rock up there and behind the back of that rock. I really like that. Pipe organ, easy for me. Pretty easy as long as I keep it up high enough. That's white. You can't tell in this light, but that's a pure white one. There's a green one there. And right in front of it is a tiny little frag of daisy that I just took out of my other tank, a little pinch off of it to grow in here. There is also, these are paleothoas. They can also take over your tank. They're easy for me, but they can take over your tank if you're not careful. I have them only on this rock that I glued them on because they're my favorite color of paleothoas, how they really glow. But I have them kept in check by these two hammers. They will reach down and sting them if they come up into their area and they feel threatened, and will keep them back hopefully for me. If not, I'll have to control them another way. What else is in here? I've got a Duncan. To me, Duncans are finicky. They're very easy for some people. Some other people can't even grow them. I've had them, some that like high flow, some that don't like high flow. This one doesn't like particularly high flow. It's finally starting to get more heads on it and get happier, but I've had to break it off and move it many places in this tank because it just hasn't been real happy, but it's doing really well in this placement now in this one. The middle of the screen right now, that is a Apostolepora. It is pink with green tips, green little things coming out of it, polyps that actually glow. It grows very fast. To me, easy, very easy care. Behind the Gorgonian, that thing, it looks like thorns. It's called the crown of thorns. Neon green. It's a bird's nest. Very easy. Got to keep it pretty high in your tank unless you have very bright lights. But they do good in these low light tanks like this one here. Around this side here, I don't know what that is, but it's pretty and it's growing and doing well. This is a cup coral. You can tell this frag shape of the frag I bought, and you can see all the new little heads all the way around it and how it's growing. There's another one right above it here that I just took out of my 20 long that was shadowed and dying, and now the heads are coming back out and it's opening up. I don't know if it almost looks like it's going to be a bluish green instead of a green. Once it gets doing better, I'll put it somewhere else, but I just got them sitting on a rock right now trying to get better. Back there, behind, in the middle of the screen, I don't know if I can get it to focus, Lepto something or other. Does not like highlight. It's orange, jack-o'-lantern. I think it's a Leptospira. I have several Gongaporas in here. That one is a short tentacled red Gongapora. That one over here is got yellow middles and green petals. And then I have one over here that the shrimp just walked over. It's in the middle of the screen right now. It's pink with long, see the shrimp is like walking all over everything. So it all just closed up, but it has long flowy tentacles and is very pretty. And those, for most people, think they're hard to care for, but if you keep them, I have found, if you keep the ones that I've had lower in my tank, they do better. And if I use Reef Energy Part A and B, they seem to do really well. I think find something in there that they need in order to grow well. This one, when I had it closer to the lights and moved closer under the lights, it didn't do as well. When I moved it, see the lights are kind of like right centered over the tank, and it's way on the outer edge. It's just flourished and is growing really fast and doing really well. But as far as this tank goes, I think that's pretty much all that's in here. So those are some corals that I have bought that are easy for me and don't cause me a lot of headaches and aren't a lot of trouble, and they grow well and do well. And this is my little 10-gallon tank that's in my bedroom. And when I have time in my house that it's actually quiet, I have a lot of children, when they're in bed or something, I will try and get a video of all the corals that are in my 20 long, so somebody could maybe learn those and try those out. So You all have a blessed day and blessings and happy reefing.